What makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to the Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagilia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. Today's conversation is with Jessica Minkus, the CEO of Bookminders. Jessica started back in 2006 as a senior accounting and worked her way up with her passion for learning and innovation. Good morning, Jessica. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I look forward to learning more about you, but also Bookminders. So you started at Bookminders as a senior accounting. That was back in 2006, which is a long time ago. And you work your way up to being the CEO of the company. So what motivates you to keep growing within the company?
Well, good morning, and thank you for asking that question. So I've always been a very driven, high energy individual where I like to push myself. I like to push myself out of my comfort zone, try different things, be challenged. I get bored very easily, and so I need something next. I need goals. I need to make those, reach those goals, and that's just naturally who I am. And even though I did start in accounting, I just quickly realized that I'm really good at optimizing operations and fostering a culture and empowering other people. And so with that, I just naturally rose up the ranks and was given opportunities to try different things, because that is what the prior CEO, the founder, he knew that I needed, and if not, I would find that spot somewhere else.
But why accounting? Why did you choose to say, I'm going to start a career in accounting? Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great profession. People love numbers. That's good. I don't love numbers, so I'm not going to go there. But why did you choose that career?
I changed my major like 5 times. I didn't graduate with an accounting degree. I graduated with an economics degree. And when I graduated college, I was deciding upon going into accounting, becoming a professional chef or an event planner. So I was all over the board. And but accounting just made sense to me. I understood it. As much as people don't think accounting is complex and it might be boring, it's not. I mean, you're getting into the weeds, you're telling a financial story for the clients and for other individuals and helping them realize their potential, so that people go into business because they're really good at what they're doing, not because they're good at the numbers and running the business. And so being able to support entrepreneurs or nonprofit leaders, carry out their mission by accounting is fascinating to me. And it's always kept me on my toes. It's always challenged me, and I get to provide support to so many other organizations to help better those organizations.
And you took that position back in 2022, and that's right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, I was the COO when COVID hit, and although I had a lot of the same responsibilities as I have now, and it was interesting. It was tough. Every day was something new, and when you are the finance person, when you're in accounting, people just always look to you, right? They're always they expect us to know the answers when no one knows the answers, right? It's not if I spent an extra 2 hours reading something, I was going to have a better answer from when I started out. That wasn't the way the world was written. So it was challenging. There was a lot of moments where I had to make sure that I was calm so that everyone else stayed calm. And it was it was challenging, but we got through it.
I guess you guys get through it together, right?
Pardon?
You guys get through it together.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like we don't really have a choice but to always just have everything together, right? And be there for our clients and, try to provide as much advice as we can.
Would you say that taking over during such a hard time is one of the biggest challenges you face within the company so far?
Probably. I mean, like I said, I was already pretty much in that position, and I was the person that was leading our webinars, and but yeah, trying to bring a sense of ease and calmness in such a chaotic time was very tough. And then in 2021, I actually think that was the most stressful year out of all of the pandemic years because everyone was just had fatigue and they didn't have the same energy to be able to keep up
Yes.
with still this the onslaught of information. And when you looked at all of the government subsidies and programs and things that were just rolling out, I felt like every Friday something new was being dumped, and so I had to spend my
Yes.
whole weekend reading about it so that Monday morning when the phone started ringing, I could have answers. So that part in 2021 was, I think, probably my toughest career year.
Bookminders is known for its flexible remote first approach to accounting. What inspired the shift and how that's changed the company itself?
So, 40 years ago, the founder, Tom Joseph, had the idea of Bookminders and this, providing flexible employment to professional accountants, which is like unheard of, right? Like that's not what the accounting industry is about. And so we've always had a flexible remote first environment and culture. But it's really shifted. And because now it's even more remote,
Yes.
where we used to go visit clients in person and have face-to-face meetings. So many people gave up their office spaces that they don't, they're all working from home now as well. So the flexibility during COVID was extremely difficult to manage because, as everyone else knows, like everyone that could have a job working from home, it never turned off. The door was always there to your office, right? And
Yes.
so people started losing the flexibility by just naturally what was happening because everyone was connected all the time, like Zoom and Teams and email.
Yes.
And so we had to make sure that we were giving the tools and just really like the okay to tell our employees, turn off your phone, like step away from your office. And
Yes.
because if not, then the key reason that people come to Bookminders is flexibility. And then they don't have that anymore. And so you have to make sure that you're constantly helping your employees achieve that balance in their life.
Does that mean right now everyone work remotely?
Yeah, pretty much everyone. We have an office space in a couple of our markets, and then we also have like drop-in office space in other markets. And we do get together and come together every once in a while, like in person. But the majority of the time we're meeting on Teams, or
Teams.
Zoom, and so it's very rare that people get together in person in the office on any type of frequency.
But is the company only serve United States or it's all over the world?
It's only in the United States. Primarily on the eastern side, eastern and central time zones.
That's amazing. So what do you believe set Bookminders apart from other accounting firms?
It's our employment model. So we empower our employees to be efficient. They get compensated for their efficiency. They're not an hourly employee or salaried. We provide them the tools and resources and a framework to be successful. Everyone understands what they have to do to be successful and what and has those guardrails around them. We are really good at documenting everything. So 95% of everything that we ask our employees to do is document. And so they have like clear rules to follow. And then management's always there supporting them in any way possible. And so they have the support and autonomy of, yes, they're a professional, working with clients that are assigned to them, but then they have us to back them up. And we're not a competitive environment. No one's trying to, win this client, and so everyone's working towards the same common goal. And so it allows us just to feel more cohesive as, an entire company. Like we're all here to support one another and make sure that everyone looks the best that they can look, because, branding is really important. So it can take one bad situation to taint that. And so everyone's on board with that and, gives it their all every day.
Is it all only, is Bookminders only offers accounting, or are we talking about also taxes and then auditing and things like that?
So we only offer accounting services, outsourced accounting services. We partner with audit firms and tax firms where they refer their clients to us because they know that then, at the end of the year when they have to do their audit or their tax return, they're getting it, it's all organized, and it's, there aren't holes, there aren't adjustments that are needed. We're providing an excellent service, which, allows them to refer their clients to us.
Is it also the other way around? For example, you do the accounting, but you might have a client that's looking for a CPA to file their taxes.
Yeah, so we definitely have referral partnerships that go both ways. Just like the CPAs firms do, the auditing firms, we typically refer a couple, because just so that they have some options.
Sure.
And we do have a certain level of, we protect certain referral relationships. And so, but in general, yes, like if they're looking for a payroll company, if they're looking for an auditor, a lawyer, like we have a lot of connections, and we, foster a lot of connections so that we can help our clients, find whatever, fill whatever gap they have.
You're a CEO, you manage a really large team, but at the same time, you're also a mom and a wife. So as a leader, how do you balance innovation with maintaining the company core values?
So this is extremely important to me, about like this phrase of how do you have it all, right? How do you, reach that point? And it comes down to understanding, and being adaptable. So everyday life changes, everyday priorities change, right? And so you need to figure out what is going to make you feel successful at the end of every day. And sometimes that is me making sure I go to Pilates class. And another one is I need to push through a project. And so it's important that that you're just able to manage that.
And I'm guessing it's taking care of yourself as well. I think that as women, we are so used to juggling so many different things, and sometimes we forget about ourselves. We care about everybody else. We care about the kids, we care about the husband, we care about the employees, everyone except for one person, you. So do you have time like where you you have to step away, say like, I need a me time to survive through this?
I require that. That's it was one of the biggest challenges when 2020 hit, was not having that drive home, time to clear my mind. I also used to travel a lot before COVID to the different offices, and I would drive. And so I would have 4 hours of time to sit there alone in my car to process everything and to think about it. And I didn't have to take a phone call, right? And no one was going to jump in my car, right? I was alone, and I so missed that time. And so I had to find different ways between going for walks and whatnot. Now, I'm very extremely lucky that the last 10 years now, my husband's a stay-at-home dad. And so he's able to help me balance everything out. And I don't have the world on my shoulders, that yes, I have the mom guilt, and if I'm not volunteering for X, Y, or Z for at the PTA and things like that, but I do what I can. I volunteer, when I can to help my kids, but I also know when I have to say.
Yes, I think that is something we don't know how to say no. Can you do this for me? Oh yeah, sure, I can do it for you. Yes, of course. And then at the end of the day, you have a pile of work sitting there like, wait a minute, how am I gonna do
Yeah,
all that?
yeah, yeah, and I definitely find myself in those situations where it's like, okay, I bit off way too much and I can chew, and but I think it's like I cannot function without having time, and so like time to myself and time to think, and my family knows that and they support it.
One thing that I realized that you have received several awards recognize your leadership. So,
Mhm.
what qualities do you believe make a great leader?
Well, there's a lot of qualities that make a really good leader, and it it really comes down to understanding what you bring to the table, and making sure that you put people around you that fill in those gaps.
Yes.
So, I like to, you know, I like to bring people in. I like to be collaborative, but I'm also extremely decisive. I have a gut feeling. I understand. My husband always jokes with me. He's like, "Of course, nothing's going to go wrong because you've already thought of everything that's going to go wrong, and so you've already played it all out in your head. So if you get there, you already know what to do. And but it's really about uplifting others. You can't run a company by yourself. I have a
No.
little over 100 employees, and there's 500 clients, and so there's no like ego to it. You're trying to work with your team, make them better, so that you all are one collective unit that's excellent, and then staying that way and holding each other accountable in a positive way. Um, but it's everyone's different. Every industry is different. It's really important that we are great operationally, organizationally, innovative, can be decisive and analytical and all of those things. But then if you go to a marketing company, it could be completely different, but
Yes.
as far as like what really key qualities you need to run a successful marketing company or a law firm, so it's just being self-aware in your situation.
So, economics, huh? I wonder why she studies that. But with your background in economics, how does that shape your approach to business and decision making?
It's very helpful. I think that
Economics, huh? I never thought of it that way at all.
yeah. So economics is complicated, and there's
Yes, duh.
and accounting is there's like one theory, not 500 theories like in economics. But it I had two favorite classes in college. One was labor economics, and the other was business law and economics. And so labor economics was all about why people choose to work, why they would stop to work, what drives them to work, and the influences, and so that's very much helped me. I still have my books that have tabs, like little tabs, so I can go back and
Mm-hmm.
reference them when I'm in certain situations. So I mean, an economics major was so helpful, and to be like where I am now to help me understand all the different aspects that can impact decisions and other people's decisions, because
Truth.
it's really about how other people respond to my decisions and if they're going to stay on the bus or not, right?
Sure.
Um, and so having just like a clear view of those theories and of history, economic history, then it definitely helps shape.
Moving forward. What lesson would you say you have learned about managing a team?
Mm. So as much as as much as one wants to have parameters saying this is what everyone needs to do. This is, the standards that we have.
Yes.
Um, you have to be flexible with people, right? Everyone's not going to fit in the same box.
No.
We have some managers that are great at X, Y, and Z, okay at A, B, C, and then other managers that are on the flip side. So
Yes.
really taking the time to understand all of the employees and the leadership team and being candid with everyone about what they're really good at and what they need someone else to help them with uh, helps get solidify the team, and again, it's not about egos. There are things that I am not good at and the entire company knows it. And so no one's going to come and ask a question on this type of topic because it just doesn't resonate enough with me.
Yes.
And there's other people that are great at it. And I'm not hurt by the fact when someone's like, okay, I can't ask you because I know you don't like it. I'm like, thank you. I'm so glad you recognize that, that I'm not expert on that topic. Someone else is. Because then I'm not stressed out. So yeah, I mean, taking the time and learning your team is so important.
But managing such a large team must be very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, earlier, when I had like 70 people reporting directly to me, it was very complicated, and so I set clear boundaries. Everyone knew that January through April, I was pretty much available to them because it's a very busy time of year. There's a lot going on, but then after that, I wouldn't answer emails on weekends, and they knew that. They also knew the time of day that I would answer emails, so I'd block it off of my calendar, and so I wouldn't get distracted.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and so you just say like, "This is my email answering time," and so it's not like and I turn off all notifications. I tell everyone to turn off all the notifications, and if someone wants to talk to you, there's probably 10 people that want to talk to you right now.
Yes.
But you're not available to talk, and so you can stay, focused.
Focus.
But I just think clear communication on what your boundaries are to everyone just helps everyone else. And then there's layers. So like now I don't manage everyone in the company. I have a 14-person leadership team, and then they manage other people, and then we have advisors, and so that there's layers of resources available to everyone.
But Jessica, on top of being the CEO of Bookminders, you also actively involved in organizations for example, women president organizations. I guess the question is, why do you choose to do that also? Because you already have a lot in your plate.
Yeah, because it helps everything else. So I'm with the Women's Presidents Organization, WPO. That has been instrumental in the growth of my journey as a CEO, and for the team, the entire company, because it's important to not have your your head in the sand. You need to get out there. You need to get feedback from other CEOs, talk with other people, see what's going on, because it's not just all Bookminders and Jessica, right? Like
Yes.
there's a lot of other factors, and you need to be ready for what comes the next day. And then I'm involved. I'm the treasurer of a nonprofit here in Pittsburgh, that works with the entrepreneurial community, and they have great energy, and it's really fun to be around them and just see what they're creating at that smaller level because they're just getting started. And then I'm involved with my kids thing. I'm the co-president of the lacrosse high school booster club, and things like that. And it's again, I don't sit down and watch TV for hours every night. Like that's not my life, and it's not my life right now. Will I be able to watch a TV show in the future? Maybe, but it's not that important. It's boring to me. So
it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
There was a TV show I loved so much. I was probably in my early 20s, and then I launched Womel, and every night that was my thing, right? I have to watch at least an episode of that show before I go to sleep, even if it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And then one day something clicked me. I love that show so much, and I want to continue watching it. That's true. But that 1 hour I'm putting into that show could go toward my company instead. So I made myself a deal. So I will go back watching that show when the company reach $2 million. Until then, I will never watch that show again.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great goal.
I put that goal, and I was like, maybe I should never say 2 million to myself, but I gotta keep it. But it's kind of funny now. The show used to be, I can't find that show anymore, so I can't really watch it. So I was like, oh man, why did I do that to myself? But yeah, that was my situation.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just again what makes you feel successful at the end of the day, and what makes you happy, and it will change everything.
Yes, I agree. Many women struggle with work and life balance, and just to get motivated, it takes a lot of work, and especially when you get to leadership position, you become executive, like CEOs and things like that. So, what advice would you give to women in that type of career, and that's also engaged in family activities like yourself?
I mean, don't beat yourself up about being imbalanced, or it's recognizing that something's not right and trying to figure out ways to remedy that. And it's it's every day. Like you have to actually like make time to do it every day. And probably up till like last year, every morning I would sit and I had a book, right, and it was like that was everything that I had to do and all the information that I needed, my meeting notes and everything. And I'd make a list of everything that needed to get done, but I knew that I probably was only going to check off 3 of those boxes. And I was
Yes.
going to have to be okay with that, because even though you have this big list, life comes in every day. Every minute comes in and it's changing that list. And so, or there's a situation that you're going to have to spend an hour with when you thought you were only going to spend 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
So and I told my leadership team at different times, just be happy with getting 3 things done on your list, and then you're going to have to move on to the next day. And it's you're not settling, you're just being realistic. It's unfair to any person to think that they have to get everything done every single day. You have to just rationalize with yourself that you're a
Yeah.
person, and that you have a lot of different avenues of life that you have to go down every day, and some you get to and some you don't. But
Don't.
if you don't, then you didn't get to it for a better reason.
I agree. Another question. I think that a lot of women also would like to get into a leadership position. They like to grow within the career, right? And sometimes that's not available to them, or sometimes it is available. They just don't have the role model, the right mentor to kind of guide them to that. So, what would you say to women looking to grow in the careers, or the one that want to step into leadership roles like you did?
Mm-hmm. So sometimes it happens naturally and sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes you have to push for what you want.
Yes.
It's just not given to you. Uh, there are so many resources out there for mentoring, and to find, like a professional mentoring society, nonprofit, whatnot. But they're hard to find, right? They're not like there's billboards all over town saying, here's help. You have
Yes.
to, you have to decide, I want to be a part of some type of like women networking group or mentoring situation. And in most major cities, there's a lot of nonprofits that fill that space, or and programs available. Um, and then so it's just making sure you know how to look for them, or if there is somebody that they could go to, they could speak with just for like 5-10 minutes and ask,
Mm-hmm.
what were they involved in anything? They heard about anything? But then when you get into more like bureaucratic type of organizations or government organizations, that they're very slow moving. They probably don't know
Yes.
certain things. And so maybe figure out a way to start something yourself on the side. If there's a bunch of peers that are in kind of either in the same position or maybe in a different department, but kind of in the same position, try to get them all together and, start working your own way into getting feedback and getting those mentoring relationships, even if it's a peer mentor, because those are just as important as someone who's has 20 years of experience
Yes.
and whatnot. Everyone has something to learn and to give.
So looking ahead, what are your goals for Bookminders, and where do you see the company in the next 5 years?
My goals are just to keep expanding. So, my primary focus for years upon years has always been recruiting and talent, retain and attract talent and, create an environment where everyone wants to stay. Like this is the place where they want to retire. And it is just about expanding into the different markets. I think in the next 2 years, we might be expanding into different industries that we typically don't serve right now. And with that comes a lot of technology changes.
Mm-hmm.
But implementing technology so that we can start working with larger companies and larger nonprofits.
I like that. And I think that also will open doors for new opportunities, new employees to come in as well. Mm-hmm. And again, helping our country as well, because right now there's a lot of people out of job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how can someone reach out to you or even reach out to Bookminders?
So there's a number of links on our website for web inquiries for, either for applications, if you want to work here, or if you want to, possibly look at using our service. They can go to, everyone can go to our website and there's some type of form they can fill out. I'm always available on LinkedIn, and messaging and my LinkedIn. And I'm always more than happy to speak with, anyone interested in either employment, or our services. And we also have a number of people in the leadership team that can, also fill those roles as well in those conversations.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with me, Jessica. And I like talking to you. I like real conversation. It's making me fill me up. But also it's seeing another woman opening doors for other women. And I think a lot of us, sometimes we don't realize it. When we think, well, like CEOs, a big word like that, you're creating something for the next generation to look up to, right? Mm-hmm. Well, she did it. She worked for the company and then she asked them for what she wanted and she got what she wanted. So I can go out there and I can do the same. And it's not just also the next generation, but also this generation, because a lot of time we get stuck. We don't know how to move. And when women like you come out and say, hey, that's how I did it. I wanted it and I go for it. And that's make a big difference,
Yes. So I agree. I like it when my kids say they're proud of me and, and they recognize that, the hard work that's pay off. Might not pay off this year, but it's, you just keep going for it and it will.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.